When it comes to modern hunting titles, The Hunter Call of the Wild is seen as a premier title. Released in 2017, Call of the Wild has been given a countless amount of updates along with multiple DLC releases. Even in the year of 2025, Call of the Wild continues to go strong with no signs of slowing down. With that said, I always like a little competition in order for us gamers to get a healthy variety of alternatives. Enter Way of the Hunter, which is a hunting simulator released in 2022. Developed by Nine Rocks Games and published by THQ Nordic, Way of the Hunter released an update recently to expand upon their unique herd management mechanic. While this game doesn't have the sales number or popularity of Call of the Wild, Way of the Hunter has carved out its own niche as the more simulation-based game. With that said, is Way of the Hunter a solid alternative to try out? So when you start the game, you'll need to begin the prelude. This takes you through the Nez Perce Valley, where you play as a young man named River, where your grandfather has given you control of the ranch as you do various quests and odd jobs. If you want to experience the story, it is here for you to enjoy. Although I'm mainly a free hunt kind of guy, I like to grab my rifle and go hunting. The quests themselves are fine for what they are, but don't expect anything too crazy or creative. It mainly boils down to traveling to certain locations and taking out a specific animal or two. What I often spend most of my time in these games is the free hunt mode, so that's what we'll be talking about for the rest of this review. From here, you pick one of several maps to begin your hunt. The base game itself only contains 2 maps to use. I purchased the Elite Edition, which includes Map Pack 1, which is the Aurora Shores and Tikamoon Plains. I spent a majority of my time at Tikamoon Plains, as hunting in Africa in this game is an amazing experience. Now let's get right into what you'll be doing for a majority of the game, and that is hunting for animals. Similar to many hunting games, you have a base where you can purchase equipment and equip yourselves. There aren't a ton of items compared to Call of the Wild, although there is a decent variety here to play with. You got rifles, shotguns, bows, and crossbows. There are also several scopes, binoculars, and collars to experiment with. I also like that this game features real guns and brands, which is a huge plus for authenticity. I am mainly a rifleman, so I mainly stuck with these 2 as my weapons. I have one Remington designed for medium game and a Remington 700 designed for the real big game. How you decide to traverse the map is ultimately up to you, which is always such a big appeal to me when it comes to hunting games. The base game includes a Jeep that you can use to drive along to your destination. You even get several radio stations to listen to, although I found most of the tracks in this game to be pretty bad. Still, I admire the inclusion of the Jeep overall. Jeeps also have the added utility to be able to replenish ammo when interacting with the trunk. Compared to Call of the Wild, this is a far better vehicle to use compared to the finicky ATVs that Call of the Wild has. Call of the Wild is seen to be nothing more than just a shooting gallery. Way of the Hunter, however, dials it back with herds being far more spaced out. It's also rare to see animals by themselves. This means that most of your time will be spent traveling and enjoying the beautiful sights this game has to offer. And I gotta say, this is one absolutely gorgeous game. The colors are vibrant and the environments are very beautiful to look at. It's one reason I normally walk instead of driving, so I can enjoy what this game has to offer. Thankfully, Way of the Hunter includes a photo mode to capture these moments of beauty. I also love and appreciate when games include this. It makes coming up with thumbnails for my videos that much easier. I have a 2K 180Hz mini LED monitor, and I can only imagine what it would look like on a 4K OLED. This is truly one of the games I want to try out first if I ever make the upgrade to OLEDs. So once you spot an animal, there are several things you can do here. The simple straightforward method is to advance slowly and take out your target with a well-placed shot. However, you do have an ability called Hunter's Sense available to you. This is similar to Call of the Wild, where you can have an easier time tracking animals and gives you the ability to examine the animals. Hunter's Sense can tell you the name of the animal, its sex, the trophy rating if it's male, and its age. And now that we got all that information needed, it is time to shoot your shot. Unique to this game is the ability to zero in on your shots. This is useful to help with accuracy within a certain range. You also have the ability to hold your breath, which is common in most games nowadays. If you've played hunting games before, you would want to aim for the heart or the lungs at the very least. Shots to the head are incredibly discouraged in this game, as you won't be able to sell the animal for much money. The gunplay here is overall very strong, especially compared to Call of the Wild. I found the rifles in Way of the Hunter to be far more accurate and precise in their placement. I especially love the sounds of each rifle, their distinct crack and echo resonating through the air, each one carrying its own story of precision and power. Really top-notch stuff here. And after getting the kill and tracking it down, we get a summary of the shots that have hit our target and what our organs it may have hit. Outside of the typical lungs and heart, you actually see various organs and bones, including the spine, the liver, the intestines, the artery, and even the brain. This is very vital information as it shows just how accurate your shot was and what damage it ultimately did. This alone gives much more feedback compared to anything Call of the Wild is able to offer. I often look at the shot cam to learn and examine how to better place my shots for the next time around. You can then sell it based on how much meat it is and the going rate for each kilogram. You can also taxidermize the animal if you plan on using it for decoration at the various lounges. Performing various deeds and tasks will reward you with various perks. Perks can be very helpful in reducing your scent and lowering the amount of noise you make when traversing the maps. While I do prefer a traditional level up system found in Call of the Wild, I found each of these perks worth it to go for thanks to the passive benefits they each provide. One of the biggest selling points to me was the herd management. In Call of the Wild, the world is very static. Regardless of how many animals you kill, the environment will not be altered at all. Way of the Hunter, however, introduced a dynamic world that really hasn't been done in a hunting game before. Depending on what animals you hunt and the fitness level of each animal, this will change the makeup of the herds. Killing animals with lower fitness will encourage animals with higher fitness to survive and thrive. The opposite will also happen if you go for animals that are considered higher trophies. Herds can also be completely wiped out if you choose to go that route. It's an awesome system that gives each down animal much more significance and allows the player to create their own long-term goals. Now, while I have been very positive on the overall experience, there is one caveat that is currently holding the game back. Compared to Call of the Wild, Way of the Hunter has a smaller amount of overall content. There are far less rifles, shotguns, and overall equipment to play with. Handguns are unfortunately absent here, which is a huge omission, especially when dealing with aggressive animals charging at you. There aren't even any night vision scopes or binoculars, making night hunting somewhat of an afterthought. This can easily be fixed with a DLC pack or two, but I would also like to see some free updates to expand upon these parts of the game. I would also like to see other gun brands outside of Steyr and Remington. Both are definitely iconic, but I would like to see Ruger, Tikka, Weatherby, Winchester, and Browning to get some love here. Before I wrap it up, just one thing I wanted to comment on the performance and functionality. I'm happy to report that I did not experience a single crash nor any glitches whatsoever. Not even any minor graphical glitches appeared during my time playing this. Considering all the variables being calculated and accounted for, I do appreciate the technical polish. Overall, Way of the Hunter is a fantastic hunting title that I am hoping continues to get more post-launch support in the future. While it does lack the content of Call of the Wild, it far surpasses that title in terms of gunplay, animal behavior, herd management, gorgeous graphics, and its immersive, realistic world that makes each hunt feel truly unique. Personally, it will be hard for me to get back into Call of the Wild without these additions. Still, that's not to say Call of the Wild is a bad game, as I put 56 hours in that title and I don't regret it one bit. I would like both games to continue to expand their game and continue to get better over time. Competition is a great thing in gaming, and the hunting genre is a great example of it. Thank you all for watching as always, and this is Powerhouse, signing off.